Being called gifted sounds like a blessing. Everyone thinks it means your life will be easier, better grades, faster learning, more potential, but potential can become a cage, especially when people start treating it like your entire identity. Because gifted kids do not just learn subjects early, they learn something more dangerous. They learn that being impressive is how they earn love. At first, it feels amazing. You answer faster than everyone else. You finish the work before the room gets quiet. Teachers smile at you differently. Parents repeat the same sentence, "You are so smart." And when you are young, you believe them. You believe smart is what you are, not something you use. So every compliment becomes a rule. Be fast, be correct, be impressive, be special, and never be ordinary. This is where the trap begins. Because gifted kids often do not learn effort the same way. They learn success before struggle. They learn praise before discipline. They learn outcomes before process. Other kids practice failing. They get things wrong. They ask for help. They try again. And slowly they build the muscle of effort. But the gifted kid often skips that part. Not because they are lazy, but because nobody made struggle feel normal. Struggle felt like evidence. Evidence that maybe they were not gifted after all. So they avoid the moment they might look average. They avoid the class that might be hard. They avoid the hobby where they might be bad. They avoid the dream that requires patience. Because gifted became confused with effortless. If it is hard, it must not be for me. If I fail, people will know. If I ask for help, I lose the identity. So the gifted kid learns to protect the image. They become careful. They become perfectionistic. They become afraid of starting. Because starting means becoming visible. And visible means judged. This is why many gifted kids become adults who procrastinate. Not because they do not care, but because they care too much. Every project feels like a test of their worth. Every mistake feels personal. Every delay feels like proof that they are falling behind. And slowly, the gifted child becomes the burned-out adult. Still smart, still capable, still full of ideas, but unable to move. Because the nervous system is exhausted from performing, from proving, from pretending everything is easy. This is the hidden cost of being praised only for results. You start believing results are the only thing people value, so you hide the process. You hide the confusion. You hide the fear. You hide the fact that you do not know what you are doing. And because everyone thinks you are fine, nobody helps. They only see the version that performs, the version that knows the answer, the version that figures things out. But nobody sees the version that is tired, the version that wants to quit, the version that wants someone else to say, "I have got you." This is why gifted kid burnout feels so confusing. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. You might still get good grades. You might still be the reliable one. You might still give good advice, but inside everything feels heavier. Simple tasks feel impossible. Emails feel like mountains. Decisions feel like traps. Rest feels like guilt. And doing nothing does not feel peaceful. It feels like failure, because you were trained to measure yourself by output, not by health, not by peace, not by joy, only by what you can produce. And that turns life into one endless exam. Even when school is over, this is the part nobody tells gifted kids. Intelligence does not protect you from burnout. Sometimes intelligence helps you explain burnout so well that you ignore it longer. You can rationalize exhaustion. You can intellectualize sadness. You can turn pain into a theory. But understanding pain is not the same as healing it. You cannot think your way out of a body that needs rest. You cannot analyze your way into feeling safe. And you cannot perform your way into feeling worthy. At some point, the identity has to crack. Not because you failed, but because the role became too small for the person inside it. You were never just the smart one. You were also a child who wanted to be loved, a child who wanted to be safe, a child who wanted permission to be unfinished. But instead, you learned to be impressive, and impressive people are rarely allowed to be tired. So recovery begins with a strange sentence. I am allowed to be bad at things. Not secretly good, not naturally talented, just bad, and still worthy. That sentence feels simple, but for a gifted kid it can feel like rebellion, because it breaks the old contract, the contract that said love must be earned, that rest must be justified, that mistakes must be hidden, that average is the same as failure. But average is not failure. Average is where humans learn. It is where you build tolerance for discomfort. It is where you stop confusing difficulty with danger. The first step is not becoming more productive. It is becoming less afraid of being human. Human means inconsistent sometimes. Human means slow sometimes. Human means needing help sometimes. Human means starting before you feel ready. And gifted kids often wait to feel ready forever. They wait for perfect focus, perfect motivation, perfect confidence, perfect conditions. But adulthood does not reward perfect readiness. It rewards repeated return. Returning after a bad day. Returning after embarrassment. Returning after the first attempt looks terrible. That is what gifted kids were often not taught. They were taught to shine, not to recover. They were taught to know, not to ask. They were taught to win, not to begin again. So if you recognize yourself in this, start smaller than your ego wants. Do the beginner version, the ugly version, the 10-minute version, the version nobody applauds. Because that is where freedom begins. When you can do something badly and survive it. When you can ask a simple question without shame. When you can rest without presenting evidence. When you can separate your worth from your performance. You are not valuable because you are useful. You are not lovable because you are impressive. You are not safe only when you are exceptional. You are allowed to be a person, not a symbol, not a project, not a prediction of future greatness, just a person. And people need more than potential. They need care. They need patience. They need boring consistency. They need moments where nobody is measuring them. And they need relationships where they can stop performing. Gifted kid burnout is not proof that you wasted your potential. It is proof that you were carrying potential without support. You were praised for the weight, but not taught how to carry it. So now you have to learn slowly. You have to learn effort without panic, rest without guilt, failure without identity collapse, and success without becoming addicted to applause. Because the goal is not to stop being intelligent. The goal is to stop being imprisoned by it. Intelligence is a tool, not a prison, not a mask, not the price of being loved. You were never meant to burn yourself alive just to prove you were bright. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one.